In this WrestleTalk news, Samoa Joe vacates the NXT title, more WWE cuts backstage, heat over CM Punk and more. Subscribe and enable notifications to always on, not only because wrestling is cool again right now, but also because of the crazy wacky stunts we do on WrestleTalk when we pass subscriber milestones. We've now passed 810,000 subscribers, which means I will do a forward roll before the end of this video, despite not having done a forward roll as an adult man.
Support WrestleTalk!
In March 2019, Tommaso Ciampa was forced to vacate the NXT Championship because of a neck injury. In August last year, Karrion Kross had to relinquish the same belt the week after winning it due to a separated shoulder. And now, carrying on NXT's grimmest of annual traditions, Samoa Joe has just announced he will also be vacating the belt, after only winning the title 3 weeks ago and not having wrestled since. Joe himself announced the news in a video on his Twitter, revealing, "Recently, WWE Medical has informed me that due to certain injuries they would like to have me step away from the ring for a brief yet still undetermined amount of time. I realise that this week we are on the cusp of a new NXT. We are on the brink of a new era in our history. I realise that that era deserves a fighting champion. That's why it makes this very difficult decision very easy to make. Effective immediately, I relinquish the NXT Championship. Best of luck to those who will vie for it. My sincerest condolences to whoever wins, because I will be along shortly to recollect what's mine." Joe doesn't specify what these certain injuries are. In early 2020, Joe suffered a head injury during a commercial shoot for WWE. After not being medically cleared to return to the ring, he transitioned to the Raw commentary desk before being released by the company in April this year. But just hours after getting fired, Joe himself revealed that Triple H called him to get him into NXT. At first, it was in a non-wrestling role, being an agent and scout behind the scenes. Then he became William Regal's on-screen enforcer, and then he was NXT champion. Wow! Things really got out of hand fast. Additionally, it's weird for NXT to rather unceremoniously break the news on Samoa Joe's Twitter account in a video filmed in his bedroom on a Sunday afternoon, rather than save it for a big announcement on Tuesday's episode of NXT, perhaps indicating Joe won't be available for that show. Tuesday's episode was already set to feature a fatal four-way match between Pete Dunne, Kyle O'Reilly, Tommaso Ciampa and LA Knight, which would have determined the #1 contender to Joe's title. This really does coincide with the new era of NXT though. The last 3 weeks of NXT were all pre-recorded in the 7 days after TakeOver 36, where Joe won the belt. Tuesday's episode is set to be the first show fully under the control of Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard, complete with colourful new logo and hippity-hop music, which the main roster shows have been advertising for the last few weeks, including at Friday's Madison Square Garden edition of SmackDown, where the live crowd reportedly booed the promo for it. Perhaps Joe's injury was actually known behind the scenes much earlier, but NXT saved announcing it until now to build intrigue for this new era of the brand. What are your thoughts on Samoa Joe relinquishing the title? Let me know in the comments down below, because I'll be replying to as many people as I can for the first 30 minutes after this video goes live from out of nowhere. And that isn't the only obstacle NXT is facing, as WWE have reportedly just fired a whole bunch more people. Before we get on with the rest of the episode, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to this video's sponsor, Ridge, which you can get 10% off now using our link in the video description below. The Ridge have redefined the wallet, creating a minimalist card holder for up to 12 cards, plus room for all your money, in a compact design which easily fits in your front pocket, unlike your current wallet, which is probably about as minimalist as a hipster burger. No one can get that in their mouth. Title of my sex tape. Ridge wallets are available in 30 different colors and styles, have RFID blocking technology to protect your cards from digital pickpockets, over 40,000 5-star reviews, and a 45-day trial period with lifetime warranty, meaning this could be the last wallet you ever have to buy. And wallets aren't all they do, as I've just picked up their awesome weatherproof commuter backpack, which has so many compartments. So please support WrestleTalk and at least check out the Ridge wallet by using our link ridge.com/WrestleTalk below. And if you like what you see, use the code WrestleTalk for 10% off. Support WrestleTalk, support your wallet with the Ridge. Continuing WWE's ruthless termination era, I can't wait for that documentary series on Peacock next year. Cassidy Haynes of BodySlam.net is reporting there was another round of production-related cuts made at NXT last week, which has put the brand down to a skeleton crew just before it's due to relaunch with its new look and tone with a remodeled Capitol Wrestling Center tomorrow. This follows August's round of 12 wrestlers being released from NXT, which included Bobby Fish and Bronson Reed, and mass backstage and talent cuts being announced on an almost monthly cycle since April. Backstage, NXT production crew as new Dark Order leaders confirmed. AEW changed up the way they record their YouTube exclusive show Dark over the weekend, shooting 4 weeks worth of content on Saturday at Universal Studios in Florida, where TNA used to record their weekly programs in their Impact Zone. Moving forward, AEW will do one taping a month there, and JJ Williams have revealed that amongst the talent used were a bunch of wrestlers who have been released by NXT earlier this year, including Kurt Stallion and August Gray, who are now called Stallion Rogers and Anthony Green. Raw Underground's own Arturo Rouse debuted as Adrian Holiday. Asher Hale came in as Anthony Henry, and Santana Garrett debuted using the same name. But despite posting highly produced short film teasers that seemingly connect with Malachi Black's Tommyverse and his WWE non-compete clause expiring on the 31st of August, former WWE star Buddy Murphy still hasn't shown up in AEW, which might be because he's just done a thigh-slapping knee straight through the forbidden door instead. New Japan's Will Ospreay has teased his mystery tag team partner for the Autumn Attack tapings in Texas later this month, tweeting, "I've been talking to a buddy of mine. Invited him to Dallas September 25th and 26th. Think he would fit in great with the crew." And just in case that wasn't obvious enough, he then hit a cheeky Nando's on the concept of subtlety, adding, "I have so many Australian wrestling friends. Some are monsters." September 26th. But he tweeted, seemingly in response, "Oh, William. Facepalm emoji." It's not the only thing Ospreay has been teasing on Twitter either, as he's been calling out current AEW champion Kenny Omega, referencing him topping the PWI 500 last week, posting, "I'd beat up number 1 any day of the week and twice on Wednesdays. Just saying." Ospreay had come 7th. According to Dave Meltzer, there are no current plans between AEW and New Japan for an Ospreay versus Omega feud, but both guys really want it to happen, and their Twitter feud can be seen as them actively building a match. Omega is apparently also very high on having a match with Jay White. But while WWE is content to give AEW as much talent as they like, their TV network Fox reportedly isn't. Thanks for your support on Patreon, Gavin Cash Money Kashiwabra. Get your own shout out and loads of exclusive content by visiting patreon.com/WrestleTalk now. Dave Meltzer is reporting that Fox actively tried to help WWE sign CM Punk over the last few months, but WWE weren't interested. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, when reports first came out in July that Punk was going to sign with AEW ahead of their run of shows in Chicago, Fox, who had already signed Punk 2 years prior in his culture-changing stint in WWE Backstage, lobbied for WWE to approach him to sign him with them instead. Fox apparently wanted Punk so much, fearful of him going to AEW on a rival network, they even offered to help pay a share of his contract. WWE turned this down though, citing Punk's attitude issues, which were first reported on back in early 2020, where Vince McMahon apparently considered Punk and Alberto Del Rio as the 2 wrestlers he will never do business with again. The next big ex-WWE guy to AEW confirmed looks to be Bray Wyatt, who was released on the 31st of July. The Wrestling Observer newsletter says there's talk he could debut on the 29th of September episode of Dynamite, which will be held in Rochester, New York. A very emotionally significant show, as that is the hometown of Bray's Wyatt family brother, the late Brody Lee. The timeline doesn't quite match up though, as WWE releases are usually subject to a 90-day non-compete clause, meaning Wyatt wouldn't be able to appear for another wrestling promotion until Friday the 29th of October, over a month later, which would also be the perfect Halloween edition of Rampage. But given the amount of admin issues WWE have had this year, like not realizing Adam Cole's NXT contract was expiring, and them never updating Aleister Black's 30-day non-compete clause to a 90-day one, who knows what mistakes could be in Bray's. The newsletter also notes that Wyatt has had talks with Impact Wrestling, where he could debut for them at October 23rd's Bound for Glory pay-per-view, again several days before a 90-day non-compete would expire. There is also reportedly interest between Impact Wrestling and Bray's other Wyatt family brother, Braun Strowman, potentially indicating they could debut for the promotion together. Last night saw Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonor 18 show, which you can watch through Fight or Honor Club, and saw former WWE wrestler Alex Zane, who was in 205 Live as Ari Sterling for about 3 months before getting released this year, win the Honor Rumble to get a future shot at ROH World Champion Bandido, who retained against Brody King, Demonic Flamita, and EC3 in the main event. Elsewhere on the show, Roxy became the promotion's inaugural Women's World Champion, and Josh Woods won the Pure Championship from Jonathan Gresham. But now it's time for Everyone's Here For. Thank you for getting us to 810,000 subscribers. Let me know what you want to see at 820,000. It's forward roll time.
It's genuinely the first time. I can't remember the last time I did a forward roll. Forward roll.
But it got us to thinking, as big news normally does, what are the other most shocking defections to have occurred in the wrestling biz when wrestlers have taken their ball and instead of going home, have gone to play for the other team? I'm Adam, hailing from Parts Unknown, and here are the 10 most shocking defections in wrestling history.